the planned Lobito corridor and the Lusaka oil pipeline. It's laying the foundation for energy security, reduced fuel cost, and the long-term economic resilience. It's a transformative model that retains value within the continent, improving African nations to extract, refine, and distribute on their own resources on their own. My question, what is the Namibian government long-term strategy for oil production in the light of a global energy transformation? 2, how does the ministry plan to balance national energy security with export and the import commitments? 3, is there a plan to diversify revenue stream away from oil dependence? If so, how soon? 4, what is the current proven oil services estimate, and how is it being managed for sustainability? 5, are there a quick plan to open up a new exploration block or invited direct investment in upstream activities? 6, how is the ministry ensuring the transparency in oil services reporting and the productive figure? 7, what percentage of a national revenue is currently driven from oil, and how is this revenue allocated? 8, how will the ministry ensure that oil wealth translated into tangible economic development for citizens in Namibia? Are there reform plans for fuel subsidy or a price policies that affect public and the private sectors? 10, what regulations are in place to mitigate the environmental impact of oil extraction and spillage? 11, how is the ministry addressing community concern in the oil productive region population? 12, is there a framework? Is there a framework transmission oil work and community as the world move towards self-dependence energy? Last, 4, what measures are in place to combat corruption in the oil sector? If so, produce. I so move.
Okay, can the honourable member please table the question? Yes, thank you, Honourable. I would like the Secretariat to assist me with the timer, because the longer the question, the longer the answer. And the rules are actually setting a limit as to how much time a person may take to pose a question. Now I have 4 more questions, requests for questions. The next is Honourable Moto, and she has the floor.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and greetings from Poland. I hereby give notice that on the 3rd of July, I shall ask the Minister of Education, Innovation, Sports, Youth, Arts and Culture, Honorable Steenkamp, the following. Despite repeated commitments to professionalize sports in Namibia, as stated in the Minister's budget speech, the sector still remains at a precarious state marked by poor remuneration, irregular payments, and lack of structural investment, particularly towards referees and officials who are the foundation of upholding integrity and fairness in games. Recent reports indicate that match referees and assessors have not been paid for over 4 months, with the 3rd Division of Women's Regional Leagues underpaid since March of 2025, the Deb Marine Premiership unpaid since April, and the 1st and 2nd Divisions, as well as the FNB Women's Super League, unpaid for 2 months. These individuals are paid as little as 50 to 400 Namibian dollars per game, despite the physical, emotional, and professional demands of their work. Match officials have repeatedly inquired about their salaries and have met with the response that there is no money. This amounts to the institutional neglect and places the livelihoods of these people at risk. Furthermore, the ministry has stated its intention to professionalize sports, but no tangible blueprint has been submitted to Parliament. This raises my following questions. Number 1, when will the ministry table a comprehensive blueprint to professionalize sports in Namibia as communicated in your speech? What research or feasibility studies have been conducted to inform this professionalization agenda? And who are the conducted consultants, researchers, or institutions responsible for compiling this data?
Yes.
How were these stakeholders selected? And if they were selected, what are the key findings? 3, can the minister confirm whether they have consulted the Namibia Football Association and are aware of the referees, match assessors, and other officials who remain unpaid for extended periods? And beyond the referees, who else is owed outstanding payments and what timelines have been committed for their payments? 4, what immediate steps will the ministry take to resolve the crisis of unpaid referees? Given that there is no longer technical or administrative issues, this is now a bread and butter matter, a matter affecting individuals who support livelihoods, their children, and the broader communities. Number 5, what systems or policy frameworks will you introduce under this professionalization plan to ensure that all sports participants, referees, coaches, players receive prompt and transparent payments, particularly during national and international competitions, because we have seen in the past people go play and they do not get their payments. 6, while respecting the independence of the NFA, what oversight mechanisms will the ministry employ to safeguard accountability, financial transparency, and institutional integrity in the administration of sports? How will the ministry mitigate the concerns about political interference while still upholding the public duty to intervene when public funds and livelihoods are at stake? And finally, I would like to make this clear. Referees are the guardians of a fair play game, and undervaluing their role, we undermine the credibility of our sports system. I so submit.
Yes.
Honorable Ikando.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 10th of July 2025, I'll ask the Honorable Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism the following questions. Honorable Minister, the Human Wildlife Conflict Self-Reliance Scheme was introduced as a measure of relief, but it had been widely criticized for inadequate compensation, delay in payouts, and bureaucratic hurdles, leaving many victims without the support they deserve. The current compensation of 100,000 Namibian dollars for a human life is not only insufficient, but also undermines the dignity of the affected families. In addition, the tourism sector, which significantly supports conservation funding and rural livelihoods, remains fragile and underdeveloped, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. Underinvestment in infrastructure, over-reliance on international tourists, and lack of support for community-based tourism initiatives continue to limit the sector's potential. In light of these pressing issues and Namibia's vision for inclusive, and sustainable development as outlined in Vision 2030, NDP 6, and the Sustainable Development Goals. I hereby pose the following questions. Question 1. What immediate and long-term measures is the ministry implementing to effectively address the increasing human-wildlife conflict, particularly in high-risk regions such as Zambezi, Kunene, and Kavango, where communities continue to suffer loss of life, crops, and livestock? Question 2. Given the public concern over the inadequate and inefficiency of the human-wildlife conflict self-reliance scheme, is the ministry reviewing the current compensation framework to ensure that it reflects the actual value of human life and economic losses, and that the process is made more accessible and timely? Question 3. In light of the continued fragility of the tourism sector, what strategies has the ministry developed to revitalize tourism, particularly through investment in infrastructure, promotion of domestic tourism, and support to community-based tourism enterprises? Lastly, what measures are in place to ensure that the local communities benefit meaningfully from conservation and tourism activities, so they are not merely victims of environmental policies, but active beneficiaries and partners in sustainable development? Honorable Speaker, I so submit.
The honourable member may please table the questions. I now recognize Honourable Ampanda.
Honourable Speaker, I hereby give notice that on the 8th of July 2025, I shall ask the following to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia. We are elected as members of Parliament to make laws. Next week, Parliament will go on recess, only to return in September. 6 months down the line, about 4 months since we elected, the executive have not tabled a single legislation. It basically means that there is real possibilities that the year 2025 will pass, will go by, without a single law being passed by the 8th Parliament.
True.
Honourable Speaker, it is also absolutely clear that the executive have a historical culture of bulldozing numerous bills and forcing them down the throats of members of Parliament in a shortest period of time. This would not be tolerated in the 8th Parliament. I therefore ask the following. What type of business unusual that result in 6 months without a single tabling of a single legislation by the executive? What is the hold-up? Number 2, we were promised that laws such as the land bill will be tabled in this House. We know that 1.2 million hectares of our land is owned by foreigners, and land continues to be given to foreigners. This legislation has been promised to be one of those legislations that are going to address these problems. When is that legislation going to be tabled? It is not that we are not capable of developing and submitting laws. We have been told clearly that the National Assembly lacks the necessary capacity, but we thank the Office of the Speaker for the efforts to try to address this problem of capacity in the National Assembly. What is the general approach Or is it just another promises or again of laws that are coming and cannot come? What concrete dates can we receive of these laws that are going to be tabled within this period? Because clearly, those 3 months, we are in a serious crisis. Or is it a plan of the executive to again continue with the same culture of so-called agent bills? I so submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The honourable member may please table the questions. Yes, thank you. I now recognize Honourable Kandarodu.
Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker. I hereby give notice that on the 12th September this year I shall ask the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform, Honourable Inge Ramani Kamwi, the following questions. Vetflay meat was established in August 2006. A year later, on the 25th July 2007, export approval was obtained for becoming a European Union EU beef export abattoir and processing facility in the town of Vetflay. Since then, the Vetflay meat has employed approximately 100 permanent staff members on an equal opportunity base to supply customers in Europe and the Scandinavian countries. For almost 10 years, between 2006 and 2015, the Vetflay abattoir was the main and the biggest employer of over 200 workers at the small settlement of Village Council, which fall under the Okorukambe constituency and enjoy village status. However, the situation at the settlement changed when the abattoir, which was operated by Vetflay Meat, had to close shop due to severe reduction in the company's Norwegian beef quota, and that led to the wholesale retrenchment of over 200 workers. In 2022, there was a glimmer of hope for Vetflay residents as Agribank invited tenders to sell the abattoir, but early 2023, the Agribank spokesperson, Philemon Nangonya, equally confirmed to New Era there was a great development around the reopening of the abattoir, saying the bank and the successful bidder were now in the process of finalizing payment and the eventual takeover of the facility. Furthermore, Okorukambe Constituency Councillor Honorable Rokongubauba also shared at that time, 2023, that over 250 permanent and seasonal jobs will be guaranteed for the residents in the coming month. Nothing happened. I'm sure this was not a campaign strategy. Unfortunately, the hopes for progress and unemployment on the revival of Vetflay abattoir for the Vetflay community was short-lived because, as of now, it is 12 years later and the abattoir remains not operational. The building is standing there and about to be dilapidated and lose value. Questions for Minister. Honorable Minister, what is the current status quo on the Vetflay abattoir? Who currently owns it? What happens to the foreign and local investors promised? What are the prospects of the abattoir being operational again and provide job opportunity? What is the laws in terms of income, either to Agribank or Development Bank? When are you going to visit the abattoir and the community of Vetflay and brief the nation about the steps to be taken to open this facility? Next one. I hereby give notice that on 12 September 2025, I will ask the Minister of Works and Transport the following questions. The fundamental factors which determine the ability of the economy to achieve economic growth are economic resources available to the society and efficiency of their use. This question addresses one of the issues of state and regional developments such as the road infrastructure, which is a key prerequisite on social and economic development of any country. This is particularly true in Namibia, where the road transport is the most widely used mode of travel. Vastness and lack of railways and airstrip is in most part of the country. Since the importance of the road network transcends national boundary, the expansion and upgrade of the road network is vital to increase economic performance. Hence, poor road infrastructure poses hindrances to both local and foreign investments in countries depending on them in terms of their economic performance and competitiveness enhancement. The road infrastructure comprises all types of roads in each area, including various structures and services to transport passengers and goods. The road infrastructure includes all roads category, facility, structure, signage, and marking, and so on, needed to provide for safe, trouble-free, and efficient traffic. Extensive network of roads of high quality is essential for trouble-free road transport, which is supposed to be most widely used mode of transport in Namibia. The advantages of road transport include transporting passengers, carry goods regardless of distance directly to a destination, and the relatively high speed and no time restrictions. Road transport and its infrastructure enable to carry people as well as materials, raw materials, semi-finished and finished products intended for sales. Road infrastructure affects the feasibility and mobility of workforce, which is reflected in the employment level. Moreover, high unemployment level makes the standard of living grow. The degree to which the road infrastructure is developed has an impact on several areas, such as instance for development of tourism, influx of foreign investors, regional development, and local economic development. Eventually, all the indicators, employment, wages, consumption, savings, investment, benefit, and tourism will have an impact on the volumes of gross-domestic product, the key macroeconomic indicator, which measures the economic output of the state. In addition, transport is significant in international context in terms of foreign trade, cooperation in different areas. In this respect, a well-developed network of road with superior road infrastructure are required. However, all categories of roads are needed in the country and its regions. Honorable Minister, the government has prioritized upgrading of Okahanja Hopewell Oshodondu Road up to Okonjatu MR112 road to bitumen level as part of Road Authority Integrated Business Plan. Road Authority Strategic Plan for 2018-2019 up to 2023 have indicated that the distance of MR112 from Okahanja to Okonjatu is 190, that this road is critically important as it can link important towns and regions such as Okahanja, Okonjatu, Oshivanda, Rundu, Katima Mulilo, Kavango East, and Sabesi region respectively. Take note that the Oshodontu mechanism and Purity mechanism mines are located on this road, as well as schools and health facility. The upgrading of MR112 road is better standard, removes substantially amount of heavy traffic load from the B1 Okahanja to Otavi road that has significantly recorded high number of accidents, crashes, injuries, and fatalities, and is the leading accident-prone road in Namibia. MR112 road will not only link various commercial towns, but will also link regions, for example, Oshodonjupa regions, the two Kavango regions, as well as Zambezi regions to Sunday countries such as Botswana and Zambia. From Okahanja to Rietfontein, MR112 is shorter with 60 kilometers, meaning motorists will save on fuel cost, and both roads will reduce car crashes to minimal. consequently to fatalities and injuries. The MR112 road is very crucial in ensuring road safety, socio-economic development, and growth, and it will serve as a safe haven for motorists in Namibia going to northeastern part. Up to date, only 20 kilometers has been done for the past 3 years. The remaining 28 kilometers is projected to be completed 2027-2028 financial year. The same concept is being observed at Beitebos Road to Oshombinde Talismanes for about 150 kilometers. Only 10 kilometers have been done so far, meaning this road will be completed after 16 years time frame if the apportioning policy prevails. Why can't these roads be completed in less than 3 years, where Duplessis plus to a Bukiro road of 28 kilometers can be completed this year, and a Shobinde road, you cover at least 50 kilometers per annum? The community of Oshibingwe are asking me, when will the Honorable Minister Nekundi upgrade our road from Karipep to Oshibingwe of only 60 kilometers into bitumen standard, even to low volume seal? And I quote, what have we done to this government? End of quote.
Member, you should please continue.
The last one, the community of Omashete sent me an SMS requesting to ask the Honorable Minister Nekundi of their road from Omaruru to Omashete for about 70 kilometers, that when will the minister upgrade their road into bitumen standard of low volume seal? And they said, and I quote, are we really part of Namibia? End of quote. Finally, will you please inform the nation which roads will be upgraded into bitumen standard during this financial year? Please tell them in which regions and constituency, from which place to which, how many kilometers, and what stage are they, like detailed design consultant and the contractor's appointment, and when is the site handover, and when will the work commence? I so submit.
Can the Honorable Member please table the questions? I now give the floor to Honorable Fries.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 10th of July 2025, I shall ask the Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Honorable M.R. Theophilus, the following. Telecom Namibia's mobile service, TN Mobile, continues to face constant service disruptions, including network outages, slow internet speeds, and billing system challenges. These issues have led to significant customer dissatisfaction and raise concerns about the company's infrastructure and service delivery. Despite non-stop public apologies and promises of improvement, many users feel that the TN Mobile's responses are insufficient, especially when outages result in financial losses or missed educational opportunities. I therefore wish to ask the Honourable Minister the following. What specific measures is Telecom Namibia implementing to prevent frequent network outages and service disruptions? How does the Ministry ensure that Telecom Namibia meets minimum service quality standards, especially in critical sectors such as healthcare and education, where network outages have severe consequences? What assessments has the Ministry conducted on the economic and social impact of prolonged network outages on businesses and essential services such as pharmacies, schools, and government institutions? How is the Ministry supporting affected sectors to mitigate the negative effects of these telecom service disruptions? Given the frequent service interruptions, does Telecom Namibia have a policy to compensate customers for periods of service unavailability, especially for prepaid users who have fully paid for services? And last question, how does the ministry
Not
hold
hearing
Telecom
from the
Namibia
opposition.
accountable for repeated service failures, and what penalties or corrective actions are in place to ensure prompt resolution and compensation for affected customers? I so submit, Honorable Speaker.
Then the honorable member Honorable Freeze tried to comply with the rules, but the MPs around him are trying to violate the rule. Now I recognize Honorable Hishono.
Urgent oral question.
Okay, let me hear the gist. Are we done with the notified questions?
Yes.
Okay, then you can give me a gist.
I hope today it will be urgent indeed, not like the previous week.
If it's an urgent
Honorable
question,
Speaker,
it will
I
be
have
allowed.
urgent oral question to the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport, Arts and Culture. Honorable Minister, on the 3rd of June 2025, unemployed teachers across the country took to the streets a nationwide strike. In desperation, they gave the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport, Art and Culture 72 hours to respond to their demands. The ministry instead pleaded for their indulgence to respond within 2 weeks, as well as to engage them weekly. Nevertheless, there is still no engagement up to this far to give them hope. Honorable Minister, I have it on a good authority that these teachers who have already waited too long are now preparing for another strike on the 8th of July 2025. And who can blame them? They feel betrayed, neglected, and abandoned by the very ministry that once promised to take care of them. I would like to ask the following questions. Number one, why is the ministry silent? Why? It has failed to communicate to what tangible short, medium, or long-term plans are in place to address the growing crisis of unemployed teachers. Number two, what message is the ministry sending? Because in its silence, what this thousands of unemployed, qualified, and passionate teachers get is that their pain does not matter, that their dreams of shaping Namibia's future are thrown away, that their contribution to national building is invisible. We hear that having task force on the ground, blah, blah, does not give the answer. Honorable Minister, this silence is a damage to the teaching profession. How many more strikes does the minister want to see before action is taken? Our dear teachers deserve actual, urgent answer. I so submit.
I see that there is another honorable MP on the list. Is the honorable member also seeking to ask an urgent oral question? Just indicate honorable member, and then I'll give you the floor if that is so. Later on, after we have dealt with the other question. So it's not by mistake you are asking for the floor, ne?
No, it's not by mistake. Oral
Okay,
agent.
then take your seat for a while. Let's first deal with the question of Honorable Hishono, Honorable Minister of Education. Would you like to respond?
I'm seeking the indulgence of the Speaker just to appreciate. You may rule me out of order or guide me how to do it proper. Yes, Honorable Speaker, I stand to seek your guidance in terms of Rule 131.
Rule what?
131.
134.
131, 1D, in that I really thought that you were giving leeway for members to learn. But I am observing that that rule, that 131, 1D, continues to be violated on the platform of asking questions. To what extent do you expect this trend to continue? Because the rule prescribes that no question, a question may not contain arguments, inferences, opinions, imputations, epithets, and hypothetical matters. And these matters continue to be entertained. So to what extent do you allow this? I just really want to have appreciation. And that violation is what makes it mostly the questions, the pre-statements, so long, because arguments, opinions, and everything. I really just want your indulgence to guide us properly in moving forward, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Yes. Well, if it's a rule, it's binding. If the honourable member finds that an honourable member is posing a question in a manner that infringes upon that, then the honourable member is free to bring that to the attention of the House. Yes. Then, Honourable Minister of Education.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honourable Member, for the question. From the onset, I wish to say that you are misinformed. First and foremost, the first meeting chaired by the Honourable Dino Balotti was on the 2nd of June, with 3 members who came to see us. And permits were only granted to 3 regions on the 3rd of June, Oshana, Kumas, and Oangwena, with the other regions expected to participate in solidarity. I must also state to you that the plight of the unemployed teachers are not taken lightly by our ministry or by the government. But you must be reasonable. Let me tell you what they demand. First and foremost, they demand mass recruitment. There's no database that tells us exactly what are the number of teachers that are qualified, what their fields of studies were, etc. We only know that the number of teachers, we are saturated in the junior primary and secondary primary fields, where our demands and our needs actually are in specific subjects in secondary. That does not say that some of them cannot be absorbed. This ministry have, with Ministry of Finance, availed positions up to 1,300 positions that has been filled to date. So the issue of mass recruitment, that's a demand. The second demand that these teachers have, the unemployed teachers, as they call themselves, that they have, and we've been engaging them all the time. It's not truthful for you to state, Honourable Member, that they have not been engaged. They do not wish to accept the responses. Let me also put it to you that they are requesting to be put into schools because they say that their 4-year qualification is proof enough that they are competent. We are following the public service recruitment process. This process of engagement with unemployed teachers started already in 2021. In 2021, we even had the Prime Minister then, her office had an engagement and had a formal opinion from the Attorney General in October 2021. That is how seriously government took this issue. That we convened as a government and we said, what can we do when we give them a platform? It is said that it is unprocedural. We cannot just place teachers in a school. And we know that the cohorts of teachers that we have right now, all of them have to go through a recruitment process, and that is competitive of nature. So, I also wish to state that at the meeting of the 2nd of June, the ministry also informed the teachers that we now, with the merging of Ministry of Basic Education and Higher Education and Innovation, we have enhanced the ability to engage the universities on training quotas. Although training in education cannot be halted as it remains a popular choice for school leavers. It was also emphasized that while the concerns of unemployed teachers are understood, recruitment process must adhere to competency-based processes, and appointments based solely on the year of graduation, which was another demand, is legally not permissible. So therefore, we maintain the stance that interviews are necessary to ensure teacher quality and uphold constitutional and policy frameworks. We still stand, and today again, another meeting was held, sir, Honorable Member, with the same 3 colleagues, again chaired by Honorable Dino Balotti, where our ministerial team has been involved. There was a 4th issue that they had a concern with, and that was on the perceived corruption of some principals in their views. We've been asking for evidence, we've been following up some leads, we've started an investigation. We want to make it pertinently clear that if any person have information, Honorable Member, to the issue, to the claim of corruption, we want them to come, even if they wish to remain anonymous. We follow up 2 leads, and we're making progress in that regard. So I just wanted to make it very clear. We expressed our openness. We said also that within 3 months we will work towards a national database. We've already engaged the Ministry of Justice and Labour on a database where teachers can load even the latest information. But the demands of them, those who finished their studies in 2017, 2018, and they wish to be placed first, that we cannot do. It's also an injustice to others. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, I thank you very much for the question.
Yes, thank you. I would allow one follow-up question, no, from the member who posed the question. No, only one opportunity for a follow-up question from the member who posed the question. It's an oral agent question. Yes. One follow-up question from the member.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member, Honorable Minister. I'm just wondering, when were you going to give us this answer after the silence of so many days? Yes? And Honorable Minister, you spoke of the database. I'm wondering who's going to set up, who was supposed to set up that database? And while we're there, I was expecting you also to touch on the institutions that are training teachers and dumping them in the streets, and now the problem comes to you. I thought you were also...
Honorable Member, that's a new dimension
which you actually regulated.
Yeah, it's a new dimension now. Okay, you have posed your follow-up questions. Ne?
Are you cutting me off?
Yes, you have one follow-up question. You have asked 2. So one follow-up question, Honorable Swan.
I want to thank the Minister for a very elaborate answer, although it was urgently asked. I think she knows the content that she's dealing with. I want to understand, Honourable Speaker, it appears that there is a saturation in the education sector in terms of teachers. Has the ministry, I know there was a time that the ministry was pushing for more and more teachers to be employed. Have they then gone back to the universities and others that are training teachers to say, can we reduce the numbers so that there is a predictability in terms of how many teachers are retiring versus how many new intakes are necessary? That's one. Number 2, as part of the first question, Honourable Speaker, there was a time that the Ministry of Education was sending a lot of students to Zimbabwe. And that is where the problem began. Where in Zimbabwe you would specialize in, say, natural science only for primary. But in Namibia you would specialize in natural science and mathematics at the same time. And suddenly you had a teacher that had skills only in science, in primary, but not skills for mathematics. And the Education Ministry began to discriminate systematically on their own funded products that came back from Zimbabwe. Now, who is to blame, really, when these young people keep on being kept out of the sector and the ministry appears not to have a database about the people it trained itself even before NASFAS was made a parastatal? Thank you,
Yes.
Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I'll give the floor to the Honorable Minister. I have noted that the follow-up questions are not strictly on the non-response of the ministry to the issues raised in the petition. I think now we just want to discuss generally the unemployed teacher graduates. But that's now water under the bridge. Minister, please briefly respond. Yes.
The issue of the database. The issue of the database, we've even encouraged the unemployed teachers to go to the regional directorates and also register themselves in the fields of study there. But the issue of a national database, it's been there. It's been there with the Ministry of Labour, now the Ministry of Justice and Labour. So we also have worked with NANTU. We're not working alone. Then on the issues of institutions, we regularly engage institutions. We've done the same because you have to give permission for an institution to be registered. We've got 2 public institutions, and we've got 16 colleges that offer education qualifications. And that is where we are trying to work very closely with them. And therefore, this year, we have even a cut-off date and said only those colleagues with the qualifications from these institutions in 2025, further than that, should the colleges not improve and work according to our national curriculum framework, we will not accept those graduates as fully qualified teachers. Because we have a personnel administrative measure, a PAM, which clearly stipulates requirements for qualified teacher. So in terms of Zimbabwe, well, it is so, indeed, and we are encouraging our teachers from Zimbabwe to have an additional qualification, a postgraduate qualification, etc., because it's only one, and our national framework asks for 2. You are right, Honourable Member. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last question is by Honorable Kandorobu. He has the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Can we please just deal with that before we break? We were supposed to go on break now.
Very straight oral question. Very urgent. To the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Lovidao, during one of your many speeches here, you promised the nation that there will be no lunch for doctors, medical doctors at state hospitals. They will be working throughout the shift. But however, what I have picked up now, that was the promise here, what I have picked up now is that doctors are going for lunch for about 2 hours. 2 hours. So patients are sitting at hospitals, stranded, they are not attended to. Can you elaborate to us why is the situation still like as it was, business as usual? I thank you.
Yes. Honorable Minister, would you like to respond?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Member, for the question. I firstly wish to clarify that
Honourable Sampasa, not Sampasa.
So I firstly wish to clarify that we did not make a promise. It was a directive, and I want to just emphasize why that is important. So in the directive that was issued, firstly, it was directed at nurses, that's the first part, but the important part of that is we weren't saying they shouldn't take lunch breaks. We asked that they please go on rotation. So we know that they must eat, we know that it's important, but there was a complaint raised from the community stating, as you've mentioned, that oftentimes they come to the hospital and what then happens is they have to wait long hours while nurses go on lunch breaks. And that is where the directive came from. With that said, at the end of the directive, we did mention that should anybody not follow the directive that was given, and this comes to light, we will take the necessary measures. And so therefore, I just wish to clarify that to begin with, but if you are aware where this is happening, please do bring it to us and we will take the necessary action. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. I think that was clear. Do you have a follow-up question? No? It's very clear, no? Yes. We now rise for 15 minutes. Yes.
Greetings Namibia, my name is Deshipa Wangula, 20, born and raised in our beautiful capital city of Windhoek. I'm a filmmaker that is currently pursuing her diploma in television production at the College of the Arts. When my name was called, I think I just stood there for a while like, oh, okay, it's me. You know, I was very shocked, but also very humbled by the offer because it just means I am 9 steps closer to the crown, and it's an opportunity that I cannot even begin to imagine how many lives is going to change, not only mine, but those that are around me, because I not only represent myself, but the community of people that are standing behind me.
To vote for your Miss Namibia public choice in Deshipewa Angula, SMS MNA to 22022. SMS charged at $5 Namibian.
Lisa hails from the mighty Zambezi region and is in the hospitality industry. She is a food enthusiast and specializes in traditional cuisines.
So I marinated the fish with different spices.
It is important that you know how to cook fish thoroughly, as it develops the flavor and makes it easier to digest protein. Lisa shows us just how you can prepare your bream on hot coals. One needs to watch the bream closely when grilled, as it cooks really fast.
I would say the senior citizens, they prefer the grilled fish because it's more healthy. It's more healthier, doesn't have oil, just a little bit of salt and a little bit of spice.
The grilled fish looks flaky and hazy in appearance, and voila, a delicious mouth-watering dish. The grilled fish. Fish is rich in calcium and phosphorus and a great source of minerals and considered to be a valuable source of omega-3 fats. Namibia Fish Consumption Promotion Trust, bringing fish to the nation. Located in the northwestern part of Namibia lies the Kunene region. Kunene region prides itself on being the most ethnically and demographically diversified region, rich with history and vibrant cultures, and it's home to Namibia's indigenous ethnic group called the Vahimba people, whose lifestyle, tradition, values, and culture have never transitioned to fit the modern times. This is the Great Kunene region. The region is the second largest in the country after Karas region, covering an area of 115,293 kilometers squared of the total Namibian land. Kunene region's capital is Opuwo. The region's name comes from the Kunene River, which forms the northern border with Angola. Kunene region is home to about 86,856 inhabitants, according to a census from 2011, representing about 4% of the Namibian population. The region comprises of 7 constituencies, namely Opuwo Urban, Opuwo Rural, Sesfontein, Korihas, Epupa, Ocho, and Kamanyab. The geography of the Kunene region is characterized by its stunning natural landmarks such as the iconic Epupa Falls, the vast expanses of desert in the Skeleton Coast National Park, and the towering Brandberg Mountain. These natural wonders not only attract tourists from around the world, but also play a crucial role in shaping the region's ecosystem and providing resources for its inhabitants. But perhaps what truly sets Kunene apart is its people. The Himba tribe, known for their distinctive, rich okra hairstyles and traditional way of life, add a layer of intrigue to an already captivating region. It's like stepping back in time and experiencing Africa
went on break. We now proceed with the notices of motions. Any notice of motions? Yes, Honorable Amte.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, I give notice on 8th July 2025. I shall move the following. The World Bank estimates that Africa's spending on network connectivity and capabilities is about $150 billion over the past years. Most of this money is spent on buying ICT equipment and services manufactured and hosted outside the continent. The proposition is that developing countries do not invest enough to strengthen their innovation programs, resulting in us consuming the ICT capabilities which we are not in control of. I move that this House discuss, decide, and recommend this proposition by establishing what we spend annually on importing ICT tools and services, how it impacts on our data sovereignty and national security, and compare it to what the public sector and the private sector invest annually in strengthening our innovation programs. I move that this year already we must, as a country, start committing funds in our next national budget to support specialized training in automation, artificial intelligence, robotic, and software development for sector-specific needs. I so move, Honorable Speaker. And on the same day, the 8th July 2025, I shall move that this Assembly discuss that as much as Namibia is known to be one of the driest countries in Africa, it still holds immense potential for aquaculture. In my view, aquaculture in Namibia has not been able to rise to the expectation which was previously envisioned. Various efforts from government through the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, which is now Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Land Reform, did not meet much of the expectations. Therefore, I move that this House deliberate, investigate, and recommend a workable solution to revive aquaculture. Aquaculture has potential to create wealth, to create employment, and to address food security. I thus move that this motion be referred to a relevant parliamentary committee after deliberation. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Can the Honorable Member please table the motions? I recognize Honorable Aupindi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I hereby give notice that on Tuesday, July 8, 2025, I shall move that the House discusses the following. With the recent discovery of commercially viable petroleum resources in place, Namibia is most definitely poised to become, in some ways, a petrostate in the future. The sector offers tremendous opportunities for economic growth, career development, and technical advancement. Everyone so often, we have seen countries with big oil plays experiencing what we call an oil curse because of failure to plan for the production phase, which can lead to security challenges and instability. The human capital need of Namibia's upstream, middle, and downstream oil and gas sector would need to be re-examined. It's a non-starter, lacking current workforce skills. There is a need to identify areas where gaps exist and propose strategies for bridging those gaps. Further, this could include analyzing the effectiveness of existing training program, if any, assessing the demand for specific technical skills. The CBNA could be in areas like the effectiveness of policies in promoting Namibian employment in the upstream, middle stream, and downstream sectors, and or impact of specific training programs on the economy and its workforce readiness. Further, that this motion, Honorable Speaker, be referred to the relevant standing committee. I so submit, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, I recognize Honorable Sampasa.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members of this august House, in amplification to my learned colleague, the Honorable Joba Mpanda, I wish to give notice that tomorrow, the 2nd of July, I shall move that leave be given to amend the Regional Council Act 1992 so as to substitute and insert new definitions, to provide for additional provisions relating to the boundaries, delimitation and demarcation commission, to provide for regional councils to consult with the regional governors in matters relating to executive functions of government, to provide for matters related to human and personnel resource management administration of regional councils, to provide for the establishment of various committees by regional councils for effective regional development planning and coordination, to delete certain provisions which restrict the powers of regional councils to fully act in respect of management and control of settlement areas, to amend certain laws and to provide for estatal matters. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. May the Honorable Member please table the motion. Very good. Now I invite ministerial statements. Honorable Balotti.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members of this august House, I thank you for the opportunity to deliver the statement on behalf of my Minister, Honorable Sanet Steenkamp, to inform the House on Namibia's upcoming hosting of the African Union Sports Council, AUSC, Region 5 Youth Games, which are scheduled to take place from the 4th to the 13th of July.
Secretariat, can you assist? I understand the members are not getting sound through their microphones. Is that so? No. No. Are the microphones working? Did you increase the volume? Can you hear now? You can hear me, but you cannot hear Honorable Balotti. Yeah, no, okay. Honorable members, please put your volumes to the maximum, but Honorable Balotti, please take note. Apparently, you need to increase the natural volume. Yes.
On the Region 5 Youth Games, which are scheduled to take place from the 4th to the 13th of July in both Windhoek and Swakopmund. The AUSC serves as the sports development arm of the African Union, the AU, much like the AU's political structure, where Namibia is part of Southern African Development Community. The AUSC divides the continent into 5 regional zones for sport development and competition. Region 5, of which Namibia is a member, consists of 10 countries, namely Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Among the various programs championed by the AUSC, Region 5 is the Under-20 Youth Games, which stand out as the most prominent and impactful. These games are held on a rotational basis across member states. Namibia previously hosted the games in 2006 and was scheduled to host again in 2026. However, in 2022/23, the designated host for the 2024, Mozambique, was severely affected by Cyclone Freddy and faced escalating insurgency in its region.
Owing to these safety concerns, Mozambique formally withdrew from hosting the Games. In response, Namibia, through the ministry responsible for sports development, approached Cabinet for approval to step in as the interim host. Cabinet granted this request towards the end of 2023, and Namibia officially informed the AUSC Region 5 during the Council of Ministers meeting in December 2023 of our readiness to host. Honourable Member, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Members, the Namibian edition of the Games will feature the following sport codes. Athletics. It's noteworthy that Namibia is the first country to host para-athletes for these games, as well as basketball, basketball 3x3, beach volleyball, boxing, e-sport, football, judo, karate, netball, table tennis, tennis, volleyball, and swimming. Events will be hosted across 2 locations, namely Windhoek and Swakop, with athletics and swimming events taking place in Swakopmund. The execution of the Games is guided by the AUC Region 5 Games Protocol Agreement and Games Manual, which mandate the establishment of a local organizing committee to lead national preparations. The LOC, which was appointed in November 2024, works closely with the Regional Organizing Committee, or ROC, under the AUSC Secretariat. Accommodation for athletes and officials will be provided at both the University of Namibia in Windhoek and at the municipal bungalows in Swakopmund, which will serve as the Games Village. Honourable members, allow me to share the projected participation statistics. A total of 2,022 athletes and officials have been confirmed by the following countries: Angola, 226, Botswana, 259, Eswatini, 107, Lesotho, 94, Malawi, 236, Mozambique, 77, South Africa, 269, Zambia, 163, Zimbabwe, 277, and the largest representation being Namibia with 314. These games have presented a unique opportunity to enhance Namibia's sport infrastructure. The following upgrades are either currently underway or at an advanced stage or are completed in totality. Firstly, the UNAM main campus kitchen, previously non-functional due to damaged equipment, has been restored to full capacity. Several dilapidated sports facilities at UNAM are undergoing refurbishment, as well as the University of Namibia hostel, which has also been revived. The after-school center, which serves as the national hub for boxing and wrestling under the Ministry of Gender, Equality and Child Welfare, has also been upgraded. The Veneta Stadium in Swakopmund has been improved, including both the track and facility repairs. Honourable members, Honourable Speaker, the 2025 AUSC Region 5 Youth Games will also serve as preparation for Team Namibia ahead of the African School Sports Games to be held later in July and August of this year, the African Youth Games, as well as the 2026 Youth Olympics, which is taking place in Senegal. Furthermore, the Games will serve as a platform for the identification of elite athletes for government's long-term talent development initiative, which is called the Road to 2028, Los Angeles and Beyond. This program is aimed at ensuring that Namibia secures Olympic podium finishes from 2028 and that we build on the historic successes of our Paralympic athletes, particularly those seen at the 2024 Paris Paralympic Games. Allow me to also acknowledge our 2024 gold medalist, Laya Ishitile. Honourable members, as I draw to a close, the AUSC Region 5 Youth Games are not merely a sporting event, they are a strategic investment in our young people, in infrastructure and in national pride. They represent our country's commitment to regional solidarity, talent development, and a vision for international competitiveness in sport. Each of the honourable members are warmly invited to attend the Games, to witness the spirit of African youth, and to support Team Namibia as we host this continental celebration of excellence. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any follow-up questions? or other questions to the statement, on the statement of the Minister? Honorable Lukata.
Thank you very much for the floor. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, and leaders of all political parties. Thank you very much for the floor. Deputy Minister, thank you very much for the information. What I just want to humbly request you, please, since Namibia in sports is a development which is going on, I thank you for that one. Can you humbly share the copies of that information? That's the only question. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ampanda.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Balotti. There was most of my students at the University of Namibia, when this thing was prematurely, when they just given notice that they wanted students to evict during the crucial period of them writing an exam. They wanted the students to be evicted so that they can do. Now we understand that it is because the university stood to benefit from the renovation of their dilapidated kitchen and all other infrastructures. So they threw the student under the bus for that. It's now absolutely very clear why they were doing what they were doing. But for the country, it's good. Yeah? For the country, it's good. And at least your ministerial statement gives a glimpse of hope in terms of what's supposed to have happened. It's not supposed to have been handled the way it has been handled, but I'm very happy that at least you give a broader perspective of what is happening. I just want to ask, and if there's no answer, it can just be an addition to what you could consider, that part of the problem, and I know the president of the National Olympic Committee, Dr. Amutumwa, the wife just got appointed now as the governor of Angwena, but Dr. Amutumwa, listen, you will understand where. It means families are progressing. So Dr. Amutumwa did his study in sport. I think his PhD in sport management or so. Part of the problem, and you could see that we host events, and we only host events, and that's it. You see. But when you study and understand sport diplomacy, immediately when we are hosting, it's no longer just your ministries. So the Minister of International Relations, in terms of our foreign policy objectives, are already alert. They would have already been alert and saying, we are hosting this event. What are we going to achieve as foreign policy objectives as a result of this hosting? The Minister of ICT, immediately, would already be on the ball. What type of support and initiative do you need so that we are able to communicate whether My Namibia, My Pride campaign, many institutions, because you would see that in countries that are very serious about sport diplomacy, immediately when we get to host, they already gather interministerial committees to be able to say that instead of just us coming, official opening, and after that, when there's a medal that is won, people say, no, they deserve a plot. Yeah, so you only deserve housing when you win. We're not supposed to be thinking like that. So what type of interministerial support are you receiving so that as a country, it's not just about kicking the ball or boxing and many things like that. We ought to be achieving, because the people who are coming here, we need to host them properly, we need to take them to our best restaurant, even the Ministry of Tourism. So those leaders that are there, I'm finishing, Speaker, you would, even as a Minister of Tourism, you would have said, these people who are later going to vote for the eventual 2027 or 2028 games, for them to return to Namibia, you would have taken them to Etosha, show them the lions, so that when they go and vote, they will remember the lions. And they will vote for the tournament to be hosted where the lions are. You see, it looks like it's a joke, but it's very, very, very serious. And most of the time, when you host these events, we just leave the ministry responsible for sport. on it. We attend the opening, and then they must get plots. Plots from what? You win a medal, you win the medal for your country. You don't win the medal and therefore you deserve a plot. If you are a nationalist who have a proper orientation and we are organized, we shouldn't be talking about plots and cars. Yeah? It's only a country that is not serious that continue to do that. What type of ministerial support are you getting from your colleagues? And if you are not, I encourage you and your ministry to be able to reach out to them so that we are also able to use these opportunities. Because Minister Sankwasa will also indicate, yes, Minister Sankwasa in conclusion will also indicate and say, maybe in his imagination, he wants Swakopmund to be converted into an international conference facility and venue. So maybe he's having that program and he wants to meet with heads of delegation to engage them and things like that. That's sport diplomacy. To what extent?
Very good.
It's a serious matter. Why are we saying time is up?
Yes.
We want to build the country.
Yeah,
not
we
these
have
jokes.
3 minutes.
So what type of support are you receiving and how do we proceed going forward? But congratulations and thank you very much.
Very good. Honorable Kumbwa, Secretariat, can you please put up the timer? Every time that people have to engage in activities that are limited.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the floor. I want to thank the Honorable Deputy Minister for Education on that brilliant input. But then, since in Namibia, when you look at rural areas and schools in rural areas, previously, people were not aware on how many hectares should a school have for sport facilities. Not all the people in Namibia was aware of this. Now today is a big challenge. We have in the rural areas premier leagues. People are playing soccer coming from other regions to another region. For instance, from Ohangwena to Kavango region. Now when they come to this village, the space for soccer fields, for sport, is not available, not adequate. Even the schools hardly get space for their soccer fields. Now, my advice, if you may take this in a form of a question, that how are you going to engage now the traditional authorities, since they are the custodians of land in rural areas, for your schools, our schools, and also for sports stadiums that are similar to what we have in cities and towns in Namibia, but hardly to get them in the rural areas. What is your plan? Your engagement is very important. Otherwise, these people from the rural areas will be left out, not to have adequate sport facilities. I so submit, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Kambala.
To look into is an issue around spectators. Spectators, because in this country we have a lot of events. We just hosted the COSAFA Under 17 recently, and the Namibians did not know that they are hosting such a tournament in the country. So there wasn't much of spectators at the stadiums. So I want to find out with the minister in terms of now the two cities the two towns that were chosen to host this beautiful event, is that how do we ensure that that our young people, spectators and dreamers and hopefuls attend this show? What are the entrance fees? Are we expected to pay any entrance fees for these young people to attend? What are we incentivizing them to? What incentives are there for young people to attend this event beyond just attendance? And the other issue is also public awareness. I was just listening on the radio, partly on my way to work today, and I was told that no, this billboard from Hosako Chako to Karatura, But the same road I was taking to Kanatura to Independence Avenue, there's no billboards up running. I mean, we are 2 days now into the event, and I still don't see a billboard that was mentioned by one of your committee members. So just a concern that I have, and how do we, those 2 questions. Also, our local artists, how are they involved? Are they just involved at the opening and the closing ceremony? Are they in between there, also keeping our artists and spectators entertained? I don't mean that for you to share us the entire program, but it's just to say that, to give us some sort of assurance in saying that local artists are taken care of because they are participating, they are doing A, B, C, and D. In terms of the spectators, what are you doing? I mean, City of Windhoek is always willing. I'm not speaking on behalf of the city, but they always are willing their buses to ensure that movement of spectators is enabled. So just those 3 concerns, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Thomas.
Yes, thank you very much. The Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Deputy Minister of Education. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit concerned about the school facilities in the rural areas, and also where the sport facilities allocation in the rural areas, especially those schools under the land controlled by our traditional authorities. The school and the Sabine and the soccer field, they are together. Very, 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 I think it's not right, where the teachers are trying to do their activities, but the school facilities, they are only not even 100 meters, but 50 meters from the soccer field and the school. And those, how can I say, entertainment jukeboxes, they are playing this side, and really the children cannot even concentrate in the activity with the teachers are giving. So my concern now, what can you do in that? Maybe can you speak to the, I don't know, who is planning about this? Maybe the traditional authority and the teachers, especially my village where I am. Eto Nangolo. Children are drinking this side, others are playing soccer, others. The teachers, they are like now soldiers. Because they want to control children at one place. But you can't control the children at the space like that. It's impossible. Yet we are talking about abuse of alcohol by young ones and so on. But I think we have to look into the facility which was put together with everything. I don't know now who is planning. Maybe a little bit for us to get a clarity there. I say on Angolo School, that one. I think maybe that the soccer field maybe must move somewhere else. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now the Honorable Deputy Minister may respond. And before he does that, I would like to highlight the fact that in terms of our rules and orders, when a ministerial statement is made, members are given an opportunity to ask questions for clarifications. It's not a debate. We cannot come and make proposals on what needs to be done and so forth. Yeah, Honorable Deputy Minister, you have the floor. You can move a motion to discuss that.
Thank you very much for the questions, honorable members. I think to the first question posed regarding the copy of the info pack, I'll share that virtually on the induction platform, but we'll also make a physical copy available tomorrow. This one has a few notes, so that I shall gladly do. I think for the second one, Honorable Prof, where you spoke of the notice of eviction, I want to sincerely disagree with your sentiment where you shared that students were thrown under the bus. And I want to give context to that. I can also agree, partially, that the modalities of how those students were informed could have definitely have been better. But I can reliably inform this House and yourself that not one student was relocated. They were moved for a period of time within the hostel facility as a few rooms were being renovated. But I don't think, I think it got a lot more media attention, and at the same time, Minister and myself, we were not too concerned because we already knew that no one would be moved out of UNAM. But be it as it may, I think your points around Dr. Mutumwa, who doubles as the president of the Namibia Olympic Committee as well as the chairperson of the local organizing committee of Region 5, I want to state on record that there's already been quite a lot of collaboration interministerially. In as much as there may not have been a formal interministerial task force, I can say that Honorable Member Ipumbu and Home Affairs have played a great role in the facilitation of visas for the incoming athletes. Works and Transport have assisted us greatly with a number of the renovations, MICT with the information dissemination, but I take note of your point around Namibia My Pride campaign and elevating sort of this for national gain. I think to the next honorable member that spoke of the rural areas and the lack of facilities, I want to bring us back to the SWAPO implementation manifesto plan. No, wait. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. So, respectfully, and I'm yeah. So respectfully, the administration.
Honorable members, can we allow the Deputy Minister to respond?
Honorable Speaker, that's not parliamentary.
What did he say?
He should withdraw. He must
Honorable
withdraw.
member, you should withdraw.
No, he must withdraw.
No, the man. No, you cannot argue with the chair from a seated position. Honorable Hengari, you always project yourself as a very disciplined MP. But every time after saying you are disciplined in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way, you come back to pass a, you know. No, you don't have the floor. The honorable member has the floor to respond. Honorable member, please proceed.
So I was making reference to the implementation plan, which is the administration's commitment, and we speak of 121 basic sport infrastructure facilities over the next 5 years. And I think when you speak of the lack of facilities in rural areas, I will agree that we do have a lack of sport infrastructure facilities. But I can say that as an administration, we have made it very clear, and in the 100-day report, which will be presented tomorrow, I believe, it will state all of the 121 facilities, and we've already been engaging with all 14 regional governors. So that information will be disseminated, and we will share with the House the basic sport infrastructure. To the honorable, to the next, the question that was posed with regards to spectators or possibly the marketing efforts, I want to state that each of the 65 federations, their members have been informed. That's only sport federations. The radio, as well as the newsprint, have also been used. social media to a great extent has been used. In the absence of billboards, I can only assume that it's perhaps due to financial constraints. I know AR use billboards, but maybe our constraints for these games.
No, you are out of order, honorable member. The member is answering. No, honorable, can you please take your seat? Let the honorable member answer because, yeah, you withdraw what? Yeah, honorable, I didn't hear what he said. I didn't hear what he said, so I cannot order him to withdraw. Okay, you don't have a floor, honorable. You see, the problem that I face with especially the MPs to my left is whenever they feel that someone is out of order, they speak in chorus asking for the presiding officer to rule the person out of order. But when the presiding officer rules any one of them out of order, they jeer in a chorus and defy the presiding officer. So the presiding officer is either presiding over the whole house or is not presiding. Yeah, so please let's comply with the rules. Yes. So the honorable member can continue, please.
I respectfully
didn't hear what he said. Yes. So okay, so the honorable member is responding, honorable. You can't make a point of order when a member is responding. No, that's your interpretation. That's not the ruling of the member. No. For as long as the honorable members are unwilling, for as long as members speak, the honorable member who takes the floor without being given the floor by the presiding officer to speak, whatever they say, the presiding officer would not take into consideration. I will not make a ruling on any request made by a member who took the floor out of 10 without being given the floor by the presiding officer. Honorable member, you are now arguing with the speaker. You are arguing. What you are calling upon me to do, you are violating. Because the rules are saying, when the presiding officer makes a ruling, there can be no argument. You get up whenever you don't agree with me and say, we will not be bullied, we will not be... That's arguing with the speaker. You are out of order, Honorable Ampanda. You are arguing with the presiding officer. No, you have done. Now you are speaking out of 10, even without a floor. No, you get a lot of opportunity to speak. No. I will not ask the member to withdraw upon a request made out of order. Yeah.
Allow me to give context before I withdraw.
No, withdraw what?
No,
No, then I will not withdraw. Who are you? I will not withdraw. No, then go.
I recognize Honorable Kandorodu. I recognize Honorable Kandorodu.
No, Speaker. Agenda House of Agenda House.
Get the floor. I have the floor.
James.
Okay, on a serious contribution, you can see.
Honorable member. Okay. Yes, proceed.
Am I protected?
Are you? I want to find out. You requested the floor, and I gave you the floor. But I want to find out. Yeah, I want to find out what are you rising on? Do you want to ask a question to the member?
Clarification on the ministerial statement.
Yeah. Okay. So I have Honorable Kandorodu, followed by Honorable Hengari and Honorable Kambala, and they will be the last. Can Honorable Kandorodu please go ahead?
I can.
Honorable member, can you please take your seat? You don't have the floor, Honorable member. You are out of order now. It's also unfair. It's also unfair just taking the floor like that and speaking. It's not fair. So, Honorable Kandorodu, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Speaker. Send the note.
Honorable Kandorodu, now I give 2 minutes to Honorable Kandorodu. Honorable Ampanda, please take your seat. No. You are out of order, Honorable.
Okay, thank you so much, Speaker.
Honorable member, you have 2 minutes to pose your question.
Honorable Deputy Minister, I just want to draw your attention a bit in terms of organizing of this type of events.
No, you see clarity, Honorable member. You see clarity on the ministerial statement. We are not debating the ministerial
I was part
statement.
of Tisan Games Organizing Committee. And
yes, Honorable member, are you going to ask for clarity?
Yes, just clarification.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, no, what I wanted to know, there was an advert that the games or the organizing committees are looking for transport. You did not elaborate more on that request. We have HME teachers, human movement education qualified teachers that are in different schools all over. How are they incorporated into these games? We have empires like the referees that were mentioned. How are they brought in to officiate this event? Then the issue of procurement process, catering and so on, how was it distributed all over. Some of these very important issues that the communities are waiting to hear, you did not touch on it. The bread and butter issue. I think you are so submit.
Yeah. Honorable Deputy Minister would answer questions that have to do with the organization of the games and not everything about the games. Now I give the floor to Honorable Engari. That's what I'm saying in this ruling. That's what I'm saying. That the people cannot just talk about anything. They have to talk about what the minister has talked about by seeking clarification. That's what I said in the ruling. So there is nothing wrong with the ruling. So, Honorable, who is the next person that I had given the floor? Now, Honorable Ampanda, please, you are disturbing the proceedings. Yeah. So, and I just want to indicate to the honorable members that the presiding officer is given a discretion to allow questions or to discontinue with the questions. Because I can see that we are really, the conduct is moving towards disorganization. And I can at any time just decide there will be no more questions. Yes. Now, Honorable Hengari has the floor. 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise on Rule 92. And I think it's important. I don't think any of us come to this house to see the house disintegrate into a mess or into chaos. But I think there must be a mutual understanding of Rule 92. And I'll read the rule, Honorable Speaker. It says a member may raise a point of order at any time during the proceedings. At any time during the proceedings of the House by stating that he or she is raising a point of order. But Speaker, let me also remind you as a presiding officer of your obligation, Honorable Speaker, to rule. I'm raising on a point of order.
No,
there's no way. There's nothing like that.
You are not raising on a point of order. You just ask for the floor.
Speaker, are you giving the member a floor?
Yes, to make a point of order.
Just ask for the Honorable Speaker, I rise on the very same rule the Honorable Member is talking about. And I don't agree with the sentiments she's sharing, because if we are saying that point of orders can be raised at any time, it means also when a member, I've not finished my sentence, when a member is also motivating a motion, for example, anybody can rise and ask for a point of order. When a minister is busy making a ministerial statement, any member can rise up and make a point of order. Yes. What I'm pleading with you, Speaker, is that that is not correct. It's common sense that in some proceedings, when somebody has asked a question,
on a point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the problem, Honorable Speaker, because then
that's what I'm trying to explain. No, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
You can't. Okay, Honorable Member.
No.
Speaker, can you take your seat? Speaker. Let me say something and then you
No. Speaker, I rose on a point of order.
No.
The rule.
I did not give you the floor on
the rule.
Honorable Member, can I say something? May you take your seat?
I'm not done.
No, you are not done, I know. But I'm asking you to take your seat. Yeah. So, I just want to clarify. No, Honorable Ampanda. I just want to debunk the understanding that seemed to be there, that Rule 92, no, you are not done. I know you are not done. I know you are not done. You are arguing with the presiding officer. Honorable Member, you asked for the floor, and I gave you the floor. You never asked for a point of order. I just gave you the floor, you put up your hand, and you are on the list, and I gave you are not making a point of order. And when you rise on that basis, you are now speaking over me, the presiding officer. No, really. No. Yeah, I just want to clarify this before I give you the floor. Yes, you will finish when I have finished saying what I'm going to say. Yes. Because really, this is not acceptable conduct. So the understanding that seemed to be there, that a point of order can just be made anytime by anyone and the presiding officer cannot make a ruling on that, is wrong. I just want to say that the presiding officer can make a ruling on a point of order, and that ruling is final and binding and may not be challenged. Sub 7 says, the presiding member may hear the opinion of any other member on the point of order. May, not must. Not must. So I give you 2 minutes to finish, honorable member, and then I give the rest of the member. Honorable Ampanda have spoken already because everyone. Yeah, 2 minutes to finish your intervention, Honorable Engari. And I hope it's not an argument on the ruling.
I'm not going to argue with the ruling because I was not
done
making
the
my
presiding
point.
officer. I want
Honorable
to listen
Speaker.
to the member.
You see, the Speaker expects that members must not debate the ruling, but the Speaker debates with members while they're on the floor. I don't understand that.
The Speaker can call a member to order.
When a point of 92 sub-rule 2, when a point of order is raised, the member being called to order must discontinue his or her speech and take
including
his
the
or her
honorable
seat.
member speaking.
Sub-rule 3. The member raising the point of order must commence by quoting the standing rule or at least the principle or subject matter upon which the point of order is raised. Sub-rule 4. If the member does not quote the standing rule or at least the principle or subject matter, I'm quoting these rules because, Honorable Speaker, over the last 2 weeks, you have consistently denied members from taking the floor on Rule 92. And it's not right. Speaker, I'm not done. I'm not arguing with the Speaker's ruling. I'm not. But the Speaker is arguing with a member who has taken the floor.
Yeah, you are arguing.
Speaker, Rule 127, please. Let's go. Let me show you the rules. Rule 127, Honorable Speaker.
There are no guys here.
Sorry, Rule 92, Speaker. Sub-Rule 7. A point of order may be raised when any of these rules and orders is alleged to have been infringed. So, Speaker, all I have done really is try and exercise the powers afforded to me as a member of this House by these very rules. So there is nothing that says I'm trying to argue with the Speaker's ruling or anything like that. But also, Speaker, your obligation to be fair and impartial in this House. I just want to demonstrate something. The Honorable Nekundi there raised on a point of order while the Honorable member was asking a question, or after he was done asking his question. There was no topic of debate on the floor. There was no motion being debated, but he was allowed to take the floor on a point of order. He exercised his powers afforded to him according to the same rule that he was trying to ask to speak on. So I don't think, Honorable Speaker, we are being fair, and I don't think we are being impartial by suppressing members from exercising this very rule. Rule 92, in fact, is a conditional rule, because in sub-rule 1, in as much as it talks about a point of order being raised during the proceedings of the House, it actually goes further to elucidate what happens when a member has raised that on that very rule. So really, Speaker, let me also remind you as a presiding officer of your responsibility, of your obligation to be impartial and to be fair.
What the honorable member did, honorable members, what the honorable member did is what she does all the time, to argue, make accusation against the presiding officer, speaking when the presiding officer is making rulings. You see, look at what you are doing. Look at what she's doing. Is that within the rules? Is that within the rules? What you are doing is not in the rules. You are out of order. Honorable Kambara, the honorable member is simply out of order.
Thank you, Speaker.
2 minutes, honorable member.
86.
2 minutes.
Yes, thank you. No, Speaker, I just want to give caution, perhaps it's caution, and I would say, or 86 is that the Speaker, by as presiding officer, you ought to protect each and every member of the House on the floor, whether on the floor or while seated in this House, from abuse. And for the last time, that we will be accepting or condoning abuse in this House from the other side of the House. Because you will know now. Stop asking questions. If you don't know, don't ask a question. Just keep quiet. Just be quiet.
You are out of order also.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point.
Don't say anything.
Exactly my point. What I'm trying to say, Speaker, if you continuously being biased against the rules, to the rules, and using the rules to victimize members of the members of the House, we will no longer continue to tolerate it. If the House must, if the House must break, it will break. Someone take a blockade. And we don't want that. We are here to serve each and every Namibian in this country. So you ought to ensure that this House contains and becomes consistent with its decorum. So please, if you do not do that, or take a blocker, I will a command. Yes.
You are out of order. Honorable Ampanda.
Yeah, Speaker, I want to suggest an advice.
That's what you want?
I want to suggest, Speaker, an advice that we take up the conversation around 92 to standing rules, so that we don't debate it here and then we can proceed with the business of the House. We acknowledge that there are different interpretations. It can only be one interpretation is correct and one interpretation is wrong. We have persuaded one another before. Speaker have persuaded us and we have changed our positions before. And I've seen instances where our wonderful Speaker have also changed her mind on certain matters. So I'm suggesting that we move this to, you chair that Standing Rules Committee. We move this matter of interpretation of 92 to standing rules, then we can debate it properly so that we proceed with the business of the House, because so that we don't debate it continuously. I'm really pleading, Speaker, because from the way how we are looking, you don't have a floor, my mother. So Speaker, I'm really saying.
Honorable Member, you have made your point.
Okay.
Can you take your seat? I just want to say that the members of the Standing Rules and Orders Committee are at liberty to bring issues for consideration by the committee. So those members who have issues that they want to be considered there can move those items as agenda items for consideration there by notifying the presiding officer. And I believe that if we will all commit to abide by the rules, we will not have a problem. The problem that we have in this House is when people think that compliance with the rules is only when they are heard, but when they are violating the rules, it's not violation of the rules. That's the problem that we have. Now we proceed to the next item, reports from the Committee of the Whole Assembly and consequential proceedings. And then, what is the time? Orders of the day. The first notice of a motion is one of Honorable Kalola. Does Honorable Kalola move the motion? Any objections? Who seconds? Agreed to. Honorable Kalola has the floor.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, many have argued that 16-year-olds are too young to make mature and informed decisions about voting, that they will not turn out to vote, or that they will, excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with my voice all these days, perhaps somebody's trying me. Okay, that they will just vote the way their parents tell them. However, research indicates that all the three assumptions are untrue and are not a reason to keep from extending vote right to 16-year-olds. But even if these assumptions were true, there would be better remedies, such as making civic education mandatory in schools than denying our 16-year-olds their political and civic rights. Lowering the voting age has been found to yield great benefits, such as increased voter turnout, and allowing teens to vote to form lifelong civic engagement habits. And teens are already highly engaged and deserve to have a voice among others. Lowering the age is a great step, which Prince is speaking. Which step must be taken because the right to vote is the fundamental form of political participation in a democracy like Namibia. It's a democratic nation. At the age of 16, young people in Namibia are considered adults in most legal contexts, such as they can consent to sexual activity, acquire a learner's license, and operate a motor vehicle on a public road. Even though they can be accompanied by a licensed driver, still they are in a public road where they can mess up if they are considered as young people. They can also make a will, open and operate a bank account without parents' permission, and they have a constitutional right to decide whether or not to stay in formal school as per Article 20 of our Constitution. Differential treatment to not amount to discrimination have, pardon me. It will therefore be sensible to grant young people from the age of 16 the right to participate in political decision-making processes and to decide on their living space and their future. 16-year-olds are incredible, engaged, and have opinions on policy that affect their lives, yet they have no voice as we speak. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, several nations, including some European Union members such as Austria and Germany, have extended voting rights to 16-year-olds for national, regional, or local elections. At best, children aged 16 in Belgium, Austria, Germany, and Malta are allowed to vote in European elections. Therefore, we can do it. Research indicates that there is a trickle-up effect on civic participation. When 16-year-olds engage in civics, conversations about politics and local issues are brought to the dinner table. Parents and family members are engaged in civic life through the 16-year-old in their households, with a positive impact on voter turnout for people of all the ages. Allowing 16-year-olds to vote in local elections will enable them to vote before leaving home and high school and establish a lifelong habit of voting. Evidence from both Austria and Malta confirms that extending vote rights to people after the 10-16 promotes higher turnout for first-time voters and over time. Austria's experience also shows that 16-year-olds are ready to contribute sound decision-making and quality participation in democracy like Namibia. I hope I'm protected. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, voting is a fundamental way through which citizens shape governments that serve them. Major human rights treaties guarantee voting rights through universal and equal suffrage, notably the International Covenant on Civic and political rights, human rights instruments do not set age cut for voting, and the right must be fulfilled without distinction of any kind. Based on personal characteristics or status, including age. Differential treatment do not amount to discrimination, must have a reasonable objective basis.
Can you please take a seat? Let's hear what the Honorable Werikwa is saying.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Kalola. You are on the right trajectory as a young man. Really, you need to proceed. But I just wanted clarity because I was in geography somehow at the primary school, but at secondary school I left that part. But I'm hearing the name of a country, Australia. So I just wanted clarity, Honorable Speaker, for my young man just to get that because it's being recorded. So just for that name to come out clearly, I was just supporting the young man. I was just supporting
Thank you, Honorable Member. I just want to implore the members that when it comes to corrections, Honorable Member, you can just take a seat for a moment. Yeah, when it comes to corrections of the pronunciation by members or information that is provided during the motivation, I think we should just wait for the member to finish making their motivation. I know that you are not the first one to do it. There were others that did it, but I don't think that it's right. We will only disturb the train of thought and disturb the people outside who are listening. Let's just leave the member to finish motivating the motion, and then we will come in and we all make our comments. Now, Honorable Karola has the floor to continue.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Differential treatment do not amount to discrimination, must have a reasonable and objective basis according to the international law if they involve capacities of child match those of adults. The franchise exclusion may be questioned. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, while not specifically mentioning the right to vote, recognizes the rights of the children to express their views freely in all matters affecting themselves. Adding to that, to be given a due weight in accordance with their age and maturity. Today, only 1/5 of adolescents are eligible to vote in most countries. Those are from 18 to 19, and yet they make up 16% of the global population. Giving at least 16-year-olds the right to vote signals that societies are committed to realizing the convention, listening to their views, and valuing their aspirations. 16-year-olds are more than capable of voting maturely and autonomously. They just need to be told to be critically analyze political manifestos. Honorable Speaker, I don't really know about my fellow honorable members, but when I was 16, I had sufficient cognitive and critical thinking capacities to make political decisions independently. I had a clear understanding of electoral system, the positions of candidates, and the value of democratic participation. Yes, it is true that children develop at different rates. While there are general milestones that most children reach within a certain age range, the exact time and space for development can vary significantly from child to child. This is perfectly normally and expected, but it should not be the reason we deny a large share of our young voters the right to participate in political and public life. 16-year-olds are mature enough to make calculated choices, such as voting. The most common arguments against lowering the voting age revolve around 16 years old capacities. Some claim that they lack the cognitive ability to vote, are not really sufficiently informed or politically engaged to warrant a vote, or are too vulnerable for manipulation. Yet recent research, notably in the field of psychology, is redefining the understanding of the evolving capacities of the child. Honorable members, while there is a debate about the relationship between adolescent development and capacity to make decisions in certain environments, such as in higher pressure or emotional change conditions, a considerable number of experts also assert that a 16-year-old has sufficient cognitive and critical thinking capacities to make political decisions independently. Others point to adolescents' susceptibility to external influence and manipulation in the context of voting, but more research is required to assess this vulnerability compared with adults. Susceptibility argument is not limited to adolescents alone, as we have grown-ups who are influenced by their peers to engage in different activities, such as corrupt activities. Extensive research in social science indicates that voters of all groups, age, and education levels often base their political decisions on loyalties, identities, and peer influences rather than purely political interest or the objective consideration of policy platforms. In voting, adolescents are influenced by a range of factors, but so are adults. We have adults that are also being influenced by other adults in numerous ways, depending on loyalty and so on in our country, in Africa. Some studies have shown that mid-adolescents have similar levels of political knowledge as young adults. In Brazil, where 16-year-olds are eligible to vote, but compulsory voting is limited to those over 18, levels of political knowledge and media consumption are distinguishable for those above and below 18 years. Similarly, when the voting age was reduced from 18 to 16 in Austria in 2007, 16 and 17-year-olds were found to be well informed as 18 to 21-year-olds. As articulated by the Committee of Rights on the Rights of the Child, which has praised Nicaragua and Austria when these countries lower the voting age to 16, efforts to enfranchise children must accompanied by investment in initiatives that empower adolescents to fulfill their responsibilities as active citizens, including through civic and human rights education and how to evaluate the credibility of information. Many also point to young people's low levels of political engagement, but the evidence is nuanced. It is true that voter turnout has been declining over time and is lower among young cohorts. However, there are significant differences across regions, and many factors contribute to this trend, including the fact that young voters lack familiarities with the voting process, face logistical challenges, and may not identify candidates that present their interest. This gap can be filled by introducing civic education in formal school curriculum. Indeed, reducing the voting age must go hand in hand with reformed and enhanced civic education. Honorable Speaker, young people are not apathetic. Many actively participate in civic life through informal.
Honorable member, it's not allowed. Honorable Swartboy.
Through informal mechanisms such as activism. They are passionate about the critical challenges facing our societies and expect prompt and tangible responses which some countries have not been able to deliver, like Namibia. As Namibians, we can chart our path differently. We can always be the first one, just like us having one of the female presidents in the continent. Research has shown that expanding adolescent franchise has the potential to instill greater political interest, as voting is a habitual behavior, with younger first-time voters more likely to vote again in subsequent elections. A study of 5 Latin American countries that have lowered the voting age to 16 showed that enfranchisement had a significant impact on trust in political parliaments and parties. It is the 16-year-olds who have the longest to live with policies and laws that we as legislators...
Can you round up, Honorable Member? Can you try to round up, eh?
Yes, I'm trying to round up. Thank you. At a time when the main crisis impacting the world require long-term thinking, setting a voting age of 16 would fulfill an ethical imperative of allowing some of the most impacted by government decisions, that is, those with the longest life expectancy, to have a say in decision making. Lowering the voting age to 16 would offer opportunities to advance the civic and political rights of our children. It would present voting as a right in itself and a means to bolster democratic institutions, improve policies for children, and promote generational equity. Honorable Speaker, as I'm about to finish, it will be important to ensure that lowering the voting age is not equated to a justification to lower other thresholds. Enfranchising 16-year-olds does not mean denying their potential vulnerabilities in their instances. Therefore, any advocacy for 16-year-olds suffrage will need to clarify protection concerns and invest in evidence-based debate. We must give young people a voice to inspire them for care about politics. Let us motivate young people to become more politically active and informed while they are still in school. If Yamal comes to Namibia, he will do probably a lot of things for Namibian, for the adults, while he's young. But he's respected in his country where he started playing for Spain when he was just 16, score for the nation and put the country's name in the map. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Now, before we proceed, I would like to remind the MPs once more that please, the rules do not allow that a member would pass between the presiding officer and a member who is on the floor. So please, let's try to take another route. Okay? Are there any further discussions on the motion by Honorable Kalola? Okay, if there are none, no further contribution, then we go to the... Oh, Honorable James, do you want to make the point you wanted to make? You made it already. It's made
I want to make my contribution, Speaker.
Okay, who is that?
I want to...
Oh, okay. Honorable Haikola, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would like to adjourn the debate to next week, Tuesday, where I will be making my contribution.
Thank you. Any objection? Agreed to. Okay, the next notice is the one by Honorable Hangula. Does the Honorable Hangula move the motion? Honorable Hangula. Honorable Ampanda, I am addressing Honorable Hangula. The second notice of a motion is by Honorable Hangula, and I would like to know whether he would like to move the motion.
I would like to call to defer the motion, Honorable Speaker.
Okay. Agreed to? Okay. The third notice of a motion is the one of Honorable Kambala. Does the Honorable Kambala move the motion?
Yes, I move, Speaker.
Who seconds the motion? Okay. Any objections?
No objection.
Okay. Agreed to. Honorable Kambala has the floor.
All right.
So until I say Honorable has the floor, you were supposed to be seated, Honorable Member. But now you may take the floor.
All right. Honorable Speaker, today I rise with deep sense of responsibility and patriotic duty to motivate this motion, one that speaks to the heart of our democratic project. The urgent need to strengthen our public institutions and to restore public trust in them. During the elections in November 2024, we have pledged that if the Namibian people gave us the honor to presenting them in this August House, we will repay their trust by restoring integrity, honesty, and accountability to public office. We promise that we will reform the laws on the Anti-Corruption Commission. Today, we honor that same commitment. Today, we bring to Parliament a motion that will fundamentally reform and transform the ACC into an effective, efficient, transparent, and independent body. This reform is not only overdue, it is essential. The ACC is an independent agency established by the Act of Parliament, Act number 8 of 2003, to combat and prevent corruption in Namibia. It is mandated to be the leading agency to investigate corruption offences and ensure that offenders are brought to justice. Currently, the manner in which the leadership of the ACC is appointed brings the impartiality and its independence of this key institution into question. Whereas both the Namibian Constitution and the Act provides for the appointment of the leadership of the ACC, regrettably, there is a glaring omission. There is no clear, transparent procedure guiding how the President selects candidates for nomination to this House. The ambiguity leaves room for perception, if not realities, of undue political influence. This undermines not only the credibility of the ACC, but also the faith of our people in our entire governance system, and that must change. Honorable members, Article 94A of the Namibian Constitution makes reference to the manner in which the leadership of the ACC is appointed. Article 94A 5 empowers the National Assembly upon nomination by the President to appoint the Director General and Deputy Director General of the ACC. Section 4 of the ACC Act of 2003 equally makes provision for the appointment of the Director General and the Deputy Director General of the ACC. Specifically, Section 4.1 guides that the National Assembly appoints the DG and Deputy DG upon nomination by the President. Indeed, Section 4.2 of the Act and Article 94A both empowers the President to nominate persons for appointment as head or deputy head of the ACC. What then this means is that the ACC Act, the President may nominate for appointment as Director General or Deputy Director General any persons whom the President considers suitable, who is of good character and of high integrity and possesses knowledge or experience relevant to the function of the Commission. But as things stand, there are no publicly known criteria used in identifying those nominees. What constitutes good character? What defines high integrity? How is relevant experience weighed? These critical values must be more than subjective judgments. They must be backed by a transparent, objective, and accountable process. I therefore propose the following measures that the President be. I therefore propose the following: that the President be empowered to constitute a selection panel or committee comprising one senior staff member from each of the following key national institutions, namely Office of the Prime Minister, Office of the Attorney General, Office of the Prosecutor General, the Ombudsman, Judicial Service Commission, Council of Traditional Authorities, the Media Ombudsman, Council of Churches, the Security Commission, the Public Service Commission, and the Local Authorities Association of Namibia. The selection committee must be empowered following the election of its chairperson and by advertisement in at least 2 daily newspapers of national circulation to invite applications from persons who qualify for nomination and appointment for the position of Director General and Director General, and 3 other members of the Commission. What this means is that the Commission must be constituted by the Director General, who shall be the chairperson, the chairperson who shall be elected by amongst members of the Commission, so appointed. I therefore move that the selection committee or panel be empowered to consider the application received to determine their compliance within the provisions of the Constitution and the Act of the ACC Act, shortlist the applicants, publish the names of the shortlisted applicants and qualified applicants in at least 2 daily newspapers of national circulation, conduct interviews of the shortlisted persons in public, shortlist 3 qualified applicants for the position of Director General and Director General respectively, shortlist 6 qualified applicants for the position of members of the Commission, and forward the names of the qualified persons to the President. Once all this is done, the President shall, within 14 days of receipt of these names of successful applicants forwarded under applicable provision, select the Director General and the Deputy Director General and 3 members of the Commission, and forward such names of persons so selected to the National Assembly for approval. The National Assembly shall, within 21 days of its next sitting after receipt of the names under the Anti-Corruption Commission Act, vet and consider all applicants and may approve or reject any or all of them. Where the National Assembly approves applicants, the Speaker of the National Assembly shall forward the names of the approved applicants to the President for appointment. The President shall, within 7 days of receipt of the approved applicants from the National Assembly, by notice in the Gazette, appoint the Director General, Deputy Director General, and the 3 members of the Commission approved by the National Assembly. Whereas the National Assembly rejects any nomination, the Speaker shall, within 3 days, communicate such decision to the President and request the President to submit fresh nominations. I also propose that for the effective discharge of its function, the Commission may establish subcommittees. The Commission may co-opt into the membership of committees established under co-opt other persons whose knowledge and skills are found necessary for the function of the Commission. Regarding the terms of office, I propose that the Director General, Deputy Director General, and the members of the Commission be appointed for a term of 5 years and be eligible for reappointment only once. So you only serve for 10 years. In this framework, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, we shift from discretion to structure, from secrecy to transparency, and from the perception of partisanship to demonstrable impartiality. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, for the purpose of ensuring impartiality and independence of every member and employee of the Commission, they must be able to perform their functions in good faith, without fear or favor or prejudice, and without influence from the government, any public officer, any political party, candidate participating in elections, or any other person or authority. Honorable members, Honorable Speaker, allow me to draw your kind attention to some examples from other jurisdictions. In Australia, who is also a member of the Commonwealth, of which we are part of, under the Additional Anti-Corruption Commission Act of 2022, the work of the Commission is overseen by the Parliamentary Joint Committee on the National Anti-Corruption Commission. The Inspector of the NACC assists with this oversight, in particular with corruption issues and complaints related to the Commission. Therefore, in ensuring transparency in the nomination process, the President must be empowered to form a select committee which will be responsible for designing a clear procedure and guidelines for nomination of qualified candidates by the President for consideration by the next Assembly. Honorable Speaker, remember, as I conclude, corruption in our country has become endemic. We have seen with health, the mines, and so forth. That it poses a significant threat to development by undermining institutions, hindering economic growth, and exacerbating inequality. Corruption continues to divert the already scarce resources from essential services and create an environment where the vulnerable suffer the most. Our country had a score of 49 out of 100 in 2024, placing us at the 59th position out of 180 countries globally on the International Transparency Corruption Perception Index. To us who take honesty and accountability serious, this is not a very good score. The CPI is the leading global indicator of public sector corruption. Weak checks and balances weaken democratic institutions. Reforming the ACC law or act, therefore, is crucial to restoring public trust. When the day finally comes and we get to effectively prevent corruption or punish all corruption offenders, regardless of who the culprit is or are, it is going to be a good win for honesty, accountability, and integrity. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I move that this motion be referred to the relevant Parliamentary Steering Committee for thorough investigation and to make recommendations to this House. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any further discussions?
Yes.
Oh, Honorable Shitana. I don't know what is going on with the
Thank you,
system here.
Speaker. I rise to move it to postpone it to the 9th of July.
Is that agreed to? Okay. Now, being it that we are actually out of time, it's about knock-off time, we rise on the basis of automatic adjournment. So the House rises until tomorrow at the usual time.
Every Thursday at 7 p.m. on NBC2, step onto the field with Soccer Pitch, Namibia's premier football magazine show.
The rainy showers this Thursday have made this evening even more fantastic.
From top tire goals to locker room truths, our crew breaks down the game like no one else.
When it comes to the Women's Super League,